Hi everyone, and welcome to the Tom Morgan Drum Studio. Today we're back in the beginning book, The Sequential Approach to Fundamental Snare Drum. And again, hopefully you've purchased the book and you're doing this along with me. Today we're on page 22 and 23 and 24. And 22 is a duet, another duet. And I'm going to play the bottom line of this duet so you can play it at the top line along with me. Notice that we're still using the same rhythms and notes that we've used up to this point, and that there are also accents thrown in here and there, so be ready for those. I'm not going to go too fast so that you can play along with me. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so now we are going to move on to page 23 and introduce dynamics. Okay, now dynamics are nothing more than just how loud or soft you play. And in music, we use Italian terms to indicate the dynamic level. And that there's a long history about that, why we do that, which I'm not going to go into. But you notice on that page 23 that we now have the dynamics written out for you. On the left-hand column is the symbol that you'll see on the music. And then the middle column is the name of that symbol. And then the third column is what it means. So 2 F's on the left, starting at the top, mean fortissimo, which means very loud. And then forte, the 1 F, forte means loud. MF, mezzo forte, means medium loud. MP, mezzo piano, means medium soft. Piano, the P, means soft. And then 2 P's, pianissimo, means very soft. Now you can also have 3 F's, fortissimo, and you can have 3 P's, P is pianissimo, but we're not going to deal with those at this point. And then below those dynamic markings, we have 2 other ones. The lines that start together and move out this way that's called a crescendo, and there's a couple different ways you can see it. If the lines are written underneath the music, then that means to gradually get louder. You can also just write the word crescendo or creche, abbreviation of that, which means the same thing, gradually increase in volume or in loudness. And then the reverse of that is decrescendo, and that means obviously to gradually get softer. Okay, so those are going to start popping up in the music. But if we move on over to 2024, we'll see that I want to talk a little bit about how we do dynamics in percussion. And we've mentioned this before, but our loudness and softness is determined by our stick height. Okay, if I want to play loud, then my sticks are going to be higher. And then as I want to play softer, my sticks will come down. So if I were going to play pianissimo, my sticks would be way down here. Okay. Now, understand this, that the dynamics are relative in that if you start a piece and it's marked forte, the volume that you determine is forte for that performance will determine how loud or soft all the other dynamics are. They have to be consistent. There's sort of a general understanding among musicians how loud forte is and how loud each dynamic is, but it is a little bit subjective, you know, and forte on a marching snare drum is a lot louder than forte on a violin or a flute. So there is certainly a subjectivity there. But this page that we're going to look at here is essentially a way to practice playing different dynamics and making quick changes back and forth between them by stick height. So line number 1, I'm going to start with my sticks up because it's forte. So I'm going to play, and you notice at the end of the second measure when I get there, there are 2 arrows pointing down. And that means that my sticks stay down after I play those 2 notes. Okay, because I'm preparing to play piano in the third measure. And when I get to the end of that line, there are 2 arrows pointing up on the last 2 notes. And those 2 notes, then I'm going to play this way because I'm going to take a repeat and go back to the beginning and play forte. So the motion you're going to make, for example, in the second measure, when I play the last 2 eighth notes, they're going to look like this, 4 and. Now normally I wouldn't play like this. I would just keep letting my sticks bounce up if I'm going to continue to play forte. But since I'm going to be switching to piano in the third measure, I have to go 4 and 1 and 2. Then I'm all ready. If I go 4 and then I have to play piano, I'm in trouble because my sticks are in the wrong place. They're too high. So this is just a simple way to practice getting used to changing your stick height to prepare for a new dynamic. And I'm just sticking with forte and piano on this page because, you know, that's a wide difference in stick height, so it's a good way to get used to it. So I'll play the first line and I'll show you what I mean. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 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 3 and 4 and repeat 1 and 2 and so forth. Okay? Now the second line is nothing more than the same idea, just shorter durations. And so now you're changing every measure, and then in line 3 you're changing every 2 counts from forte to piano. Now we want to make sure that we make a very abrupt change so that there's not the sense of, you know, you're coming to, if we go back to the first line, we're coming to the second measure and you know you're going to have to change to piano in the third, so you start to kind of lower your sticks a little bit ahead of time, and we get the last two notes are not the same as the others. You know, both of those measures are to be played forte, and then the next measure is immediately to be played piano. And so we don't want to give it away that we're going to play piano in the third measure. Okay, so I won't take the time to play all three of those lines, but I want you to practice them and just get used to the idea. Now, you know, right now you have to really think about this and, you know, consciously make the switch. As you do this more, it becomes a unconscious kind of second nature that you do it without thinking. And that's our goal. The more of these things that we can just get into our brains and form habits and just do automatically without having to think about, the better, you know, the better player we're going to be. The same thing is if you think about a little child learning to walk, and it takes all their concentration to walk. But imagine if, you know, a 60-year-old man still had to think about every step that he made. And, you know, you couldn't walk. If you were walking, you couldn't do anything else because you'd have to think about that. But you've walked so much that it just becomes something you don't even think about. It's on automatic pilot. And many, many things in music and in drumming have to become that way. So this would be one of them. Just sort of automatically changing your stick height to the right height that you need for the correct dynamic. So that'll come with time. If you look at line 4, I've just thrown some dynamics in, or some accents in there with the dynamics. So the accent is always going to be a little louder than all the notes surrounding it. So I'm still going to play forte and piano. The tricky thing is to play the third measure, which has an accent, but it's piano. So that accent's going to be softer than the accents I played when I was playing forte, but it's going to be an accent in the context of a piano dynamic. So line 4 would look like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2, as I repeat. Okay, so it's a little more tricky when you add accents in, so it's a good thing to practice. So 4, 5, and 6 do the same thing that 1, 2, and 3 did. They just have accents. Now those arrows that I've put to help you remember to lift or to leave your sticks down, those are not going to be there in actual, you know, literature that you play. I've just put those in there to help you to remember what to do and when you're practicing it. Don't expect to see those if you're playing a piece in band or something like that. All right, so that's all we'll do for today. Practice those exercises. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and like this video if you liked it, and stay tuned as we move through this book, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya. Bye-bye.